Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Breaking Kayfabe Express. I am your host, Drew No Gimmicks Needed Radley. We got Crystal in the depths of AMC 6 Burbank, and we got our past and future and new co-host, Grayson Orr, in the house to talk about the movie that just came out with what's his name? That's right, Steven Spielberg, director Steven Spielberg. He has done a couple movies. He's the director of the movie 1941. He's done The Terminal. He's done Always. So like he has a really good track record. So we're gonna go over the movie that just came out this weekend called Disclosure Day, which stars Emily Blunt from Gulliver's Travels and Coleman Domingo for being the main character for the last episode of Euphoria for some reason.
He was great in Fear the Walking Dead. Show some respect to his name.
Oh, well, yeah, he could have been good in that, but just the fact he became the main character, like he's literally the main character of that last 30 minutes. And you're like, what the fuck is happening with this? And Josh O'Connell from that incredibly straight movie Challengers. Disclosure Day was an idea that Steven Spielberg's been working on, and now was the time to actually get it out. So it came out this weekend. Currently, what's happening in movies is the world has been overtaken with Obsession and Backrooms. I've seen both of the movies. I think they're very solid. They're 4-star generals on my Letterbox. It's showing the change of a new guard. Everybody was talking like, oh man, Steven Spielberg's gonna have this movie that's gonna bomb, ha 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 ha, but these two 20-year-olds have these movies that are doing so great, and I'm just like, man, if you don't shut the fuck up, like, what are we talking about?
It's actually funny you say that, because in the middle of Disclosure Day, that popped up in my head a bit. It's the way they're filmed, like both independent movies. I'll use Obsession as more of the example than Backrooms. With Obsession, everything's very disciplined with the camera. Everything has a purpose in the frame. The blocking of the actors, where they move in the frame, is more important than the camera movement. And then with Disclosure Day, it is very much a dance that Spielberg's the best at. He's the master of blocking and staging, and it shows in all his films, and it even shows in Disclosure Day, to where he shows off at times. But there's a difference of how movie making has changed from a 7-year-old man who invented the blockbuster with Jaws to a movie that has Gen Z obsessed, no pun intended, with just keeping engagement to the screen in a world where everything is click, click, click. Got to keep your mind rolling and moving. And it's very fascinating how Gen Z is latched on to Obsession. And I don't know how they're going to be latched on to Disclosure Day, if they do.
Yeah, I personally don't think Disclosure Day is any sort of a Gen Z movie.
Agreed. I agree.
Because you have to deal in the fantastical, in the sense that you have to not go into the movie theater cynical at all for this to even work for you. And so like the people who are giving this bad reviews that I know are some of the most cynical people I've ever met. No, it was Obsession, then Backrooms, then Masters of the Universe came out and has bombed, which I've always believed it was like a tax write-off. What's happened in the past 10 years is we're so past 80s nostalgia that, you know, like the last season of Stranger Things was a slog, where you're like, well, okay, they're still in the 80s for some reason.
And this past weekend, Obsession outgrows Star Wars.
Yeah.
So nostalgia is not working anymore.
No, it's like you've been bombarded with this, and now you're like, does this even work anymore? Like, I feel that there's been such a calling. I think people are just reaching out for something new, and that's why these movies both have worked tremendously.
I don't want to get into it too much. This is more about the ending, but it definitely feels Spielberg still living in a world where escapism is cinema.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to escape in cinema when the literal world is on fire. And the weekend this movie comes out, we have the first world's trillionaire, while we have multiple wars happening. And his idea of everyone coming together is aliens. Now, I'm undercutting the meaning of the movie, which to me, it's empathy, which a lot of people do not have or don't have time for. But it's so hard to take it serious when Spielberg still has this It's not out of touch. It's just his whimsicalness is not there anymore in our real world. You're not caught up in the mystery of aliens. It's more of, we have other more important shit to worry about on this planet than we do what's outside of it.
Exactly. Like, that's why, it's just coming from a cynical place, like, it doesn't work. But like, cynicism in some form is reality. And that's what we're dealing with right now. I do appreciate what he did, but like, we'll definitely talk about some of the things where you're like, that didn't quite work for me, or that definitely works for me. So we'll definitely. In one of my notes, I had talked about, there's a Variety article that just came out saying that Disclosure Day cost $150 million and Universal spent $80 million on marketing, including, I think, a Super Bowl commercial, if I'm not sure. And then Steven Spielberg got paid $10 million for directing and producing, and then Emily Blunt got 15, and then Josh got 6. Everybody is saying that the movie needs $300 million globally to be profitable. Now, saying all of that is a word salad, but at the same time, if Steven Spielberg walks onto your film lot, if he's just like, hey, I need $100 million to make this, you'll be like, okay, cool. So you need like $150 million, right? Like, no questions asked. Like, you're not just like, you're not gonna pocket watch Spielberg. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense. This guy, like Grayson said, created the blockbuster. Like, you're not gonna just be like, well, Steven, your last couple movies haven't really been profitable, so we don't really think we can trust you. But like, you would get clowned out of Hollywood if you did some shit like that. Like, even David Zaslav, who's ruined Hollywood, wouldn't even do some shit like that. He knows better. I just feel that now, like, with articles being worded like that, that's kind of very disingenuous more than anything.
Well, it's also fascinating you mentioned Variety, because they're also very disingenuous to sinners.
Yes. No, I'm on Black Twitter heavy, so yes, I have figured that out.
Yeah.
They've still not forgiven Variety for that.
Well, they shouldn't.
Never will.
Why should they? Variety did some dumb shit.
Unbelievable.
That's putting it nicely.
The idea of this started because Steven Spielberg, basically during the writer strike, was writing outlines that would serve for the basis of Disclosure Day, and he was inspired by an article in 2017 in the New York Times called Glowing Auras and Black Money, the Pentagon's mystery UFO program published in the New York Times, which basically got the spark again, where he's just like, I've always wanted to do this idea. So he calls up David Cope, fresh off of a movie that I like, and I can't find a terrible frame of reference for right now, but he did Black Bag.
He did that, and then he also did Jurassic World Rebirth.
Even better, the better one, Jurassic World Rebirth, which Mahershala Ali clearly dies, and then they did a test screening, and then they have him come back later on in the movie, and they're like not even talking to each other, but they're exchanging looks, and that's how the movie ends. And I was just like, man, just kill him. He clearly dies in the movie. Why are you lying to us like this?
And this is why we're ever going to get one blade.
This idea has been ruminating in Spielberg's head for a while, so he was able to get this on screen. So the early reviews of this were saying that this is the best movie he's done in 20 years. I'm just like, wait, what? Like,
so Fablesman doesn't count?
What? Fuck. The Post,
West Side Story,
Fablemans. Like, you're lying to me. And Bridge of Spies is not that bad either. So like, no, that's for people who are just like, I like the old Spielberg where it's just like bangarang type shit. Like, sometimes you just gotta grow up.
It's everything before Schindler's List they love.
Yes, because that's a part of Americana and nostalgia.
No Munich, no Minority Report.
Yeah, well, I mean, Munich was 21 years ago. So like that, I was saying, I was doing the capper where it was just like, that when that article was just like 20 years ago, I'm like, okay, from 2006 to 2026. But yeah, no, Munich was 05 and War of the Worlds was 05 at the same time.
The fact that you're saying that makes me feel crazy because I'm like, that can't be 21 years ago. But it is.
When I saw that, and then I saw the early reviews and people are just like, this movie sucks. I'm just like, okay, well, we'll figure it out.
It by no means of that phrase sucks at all.
This movie stars Emily Blunt, who, for my money, is one of the best actresses in Hollywood. She was really good in multiple movies. She's most known for the Jane Austen book club and the 2010 version of The Wolfman. Those are her two best movies.
Exactly. Those are where everyone knows her from. Exactly.
But it's pretty impressive that her second movie she ever did was D Wears P, Devil Wears Prada. So she has built a career off of that. I like The Devil Wears Prada. I have a category of people who have, I call it a hinge performance. The quality of the movie hinges on the performance of this one actor. So like, I've always felt that without Emily Blunt, The Devil Wears Prada doesn't quite work. I've always
agree with that. I said with Emily Blunt with Edge of Tomorrow as well, right? Or Live Die Repeat, whatever the fucking title is now.
I forgot about that movie, but no, she was really cool in it.
She carries the movie. It's not Tom's movie, it's her movie. I love her in Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2, and I shout out to Day One. I really do like Day One a lot. You know, she's not in it, but she does carry the mantle very well. And Disclosure Day, to me, she is the best part of the movie. She does amazing during, again, back to the master of blocking. Like when Spielberg's doing his thing, it's like changing languages, like on beat, like on rhythm. And you're just like, how is your brain doing this? But that goes to her performance of how talented she is as an actress, just doing it effortlessly. And you can tell on camera, it's perfect.
With Emily Blunt, she's such a good actress that we forget that we take her for granted. Like Crystal and I had this conversation years ago about Mariah Carey, where Mariah Carey is a really weird, underrated diva, but it's still Mariah Carey. And that's how I feel with Emily Blunt. You expect her to be great and you take her for granted because her greatness. Like she was going to be Black Widow, but she had to deal with Gulliver's Travels to do that piece of shit movie. And Scarlett Johansson took that, and Scarlett Johansson was just like, I hate every moment about this. I think it would have worked with Emily Blunt, and that would have probably sent her off to like another stratosphere.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been better with her.
Absolutely. I just think she's a phenomenal actress. Hey everyone, just got back from watching Devil Wears Prada 2. This is a solid movie. It is the Top Gun for gays and millennials. And I'd like to say that Emily Blunt steals the show in every scene that she's in. And this further proves our point, which we're just talking about her being one of the best actors in Hollywood. So go see D Wears P 2. It's a delight. It's surprising. And I really enjoy it. Disclosure Day starts one of the most unexpected things to the point where I'm like, are we in the right movie? It starts with
I'm so confused.
in the corner, and this is why we call the show Breaking Kayfabe, because we're taking a break from wrestling, but the literal first shot of the movie is wrestling. It's Lance Archer and it's Brian Cage from AEW with Chavo Guerrero being the referee, and you're like, wait, what is going on? And then you see that long dolly in to see Jack O'Connell. Who's having
Josh O'Connell.
Josh.
Did you say Josh? It's his name Josh now.
No, but he shows up and basically has a backpack, and they're trying to get the information out of the backpack, and then you come to find out it's a bunch of secrets. They go out to parking lot where Colin Farrell gets an evil person shot, which Janusz Kaminski is doing an amazing job. The car door opens, and then you see,
So you're talking about Josh O'Connell's character. I do this every time because this is what I do when I write. But every time I watch a movie and it's like really good and I enjoy it, I'm like, I have to go on behind the name and see what all the names mean and figure out if they did that on purpose, which they very much fucking did for this movie. 100%. There's a reason why two of them have, biblical names. Daniel, his name means God is my judge. So he's saying nobody can judge me except God. And that's kind of how he's operating in the movie, the character. He's like, none of this earthly laws, this stuff doesn't matter because this is bigger than that. So that's sort of his whole role. And then you have Noah, who, if you think about it, he could sort of be seen as a misguided Noah trying to put everyone on the ark to save, but he's doing it in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. I love names and their meanings because it always adds a little spice.
Yeah. And then we come to find out that he's holding essentially what it looks like a tube. I don't know how to describe it.
It's more of a stone. Looks like something made out of stone or like smooth metal, and it's got sort of it's like you put a hexagon, not hexagon, no, what's that shape called? Trapezoid, and like you stretched it out and you give it some extra sides.
Yeah. In a weird way, it kind of looks like something that would be in Project Hail Mary.
It does.
Yeah.
It does look like something Rocky would have made.
Josh O'Connell, aka Daniel, and Eve, who is, I'm blanking on her name.
Jane in the movie.
Jane.
Yeah. And I mean, Jane has some meaning too, because it's not really the meaning itself, but famously there was Lady Jane Grey who was used in a political coup in England, and then she got killed for it.
Yeah. The actress name is Eve Hewson. And the only reason I know her is because that is Bono from YouTube's daughter.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yeah, I first time ever seeing them for me.
It's funny because when I saw her, I was just like, why do I know her? And I'm like, I've seen her before. I looked it up and I'm like, oh, it's Bono's daughter. You know.
So Aerosmith has his daughter at Armageddon about the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bono does the same thing with about another end of the world movie in a way. Holy shit. Really? Don't want to miss a thing, apparently.
This is disclosure day. Like, all the secrets are coming out.
All the secrets.
Colin Firth lets them go. Like, Colin Firth is in charge of Wardex, which is the paladin of the world, where they are just a big evil corporation where they have more power than the actual government, but not really.
They're men in black, but evil is what they are.
He lets him go, and then
Don't forget the henchman. The one that hangs out with Colin the whole time. I got a whole thing about him.
God, that fucking henchman.
That guy. He took everything so personally.
Yeah. What a dick.
Really, he's that person that takes like he's the person that like at work is like all about work and is like, you know, work is the most important thing ever. You know, we're really a family here at work. And you're like, are we really a family? Is that what we are here? Okay.
Like, good on the actor. Like, he was great, but damn, what an asshole.
Yeah. Right, he sucks.
They basically are on the run, and then that's when this movie, it's like a conspiracy thriller. And like, I don't really watch trailers. Like, I make sure to just like listen to music or just do other shit and like trailers playing to not really get it. So I had no clue that this would just be a conspiracy thriller. No idea.
Yeah. It does remind me of the Parallax View, that 70s movie. Like, I had that vibe going with it. But like, even like, I remember watching the trailers, I had no idea this would be that. Like, I didn't know it was going to be like a road movie, essentially. Like, we're going to point. I thought it was going to be like very much more, again, like conspiracy theory, like rabbit hole, government, buildings, like very not boring, but just not as adventurous as the movie is. But that's me like doubting Spielberg versus the marketing for this movie.
Yeah, like I had no clue, and it worked for me. So when him and Jane are on the run, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So the first place they go is a Catholic church, which I'm like,
no, it's a nunnery, a monastery. Difference. Not a church.
A monastery.
It's either a monastery or it's a monastery, I think. So there's probably nuns and.
I saw no priest at that in that location.
Yeah, so they were calling it a monastery, which makes me confused because usually monasteries are for men and nunneries are for women.
Crystal, this is written by a guy, and you can tell with the line of I'm going to butcher it, but basically, you were a nun. Yeah, we had sex. Could you not tell?
What does that mean? Like she was a virgin? Is that what we're trying to get at?
Like what's this have to do with the movie? Simon Funny, it's like, this is weird.
I was like, okay, no, but yeah, no, it's just a bunch of nuns there. It's usually a nunnery, although I could be wrong because I am a very, very, very lapsed Catholic. I don't remember the last time I went to church, so don't quote me on that. But it is just nuns living there because there are places like that where either nuns or friars live together and they just kind of do their own thing, and that's what that is. And yeah, they went to the whole St. Clair thing. Again, a name, St. Clair, you know, she wanted to be at church so bad that she saw herself there and she saw it in a vision. All these things point to visions, and I love it because if you just look at names and you look them up, if it's a decent enough writer, you can glean a lot of the story just from the characters' names, like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because again, even with Daniel, like he has, Daniel in Lion's Den, and then Daniel in the Bible was living at the court of the king, and he was rising to prominence by interpreting the king's dreams. And his book of the Bible apparently contains 4 visions of the end of the world. Yay.
Who is the actress who played Sister Mora? Is Elizabeth Marvel. Elizabeth Marvel's been in a ton of movies. She basically plays a defense attorney in SVU, which I know her from, but she's been in a lot of movies over time, and I think she's like a exclusively like New York actress. Yeah, she's on Broadway. Like she shows up and they have a conversation, and she's just like, yeah, I support her, but you need to be careful what you're doing. She tells that to Josh O'Connell. That's when the whole conversation Grayson was just talking about happens. Like, you were a nun? It's like, yeah, we had sex. What the fuck is that?
I was trying to figure that out too. When I was in theater, I was like, what does she mean? Like, she never had sex? Is that why? Like, is that what I'm supposed to get from this?
Come on, David Cope. Speak up now. What does that mean?
Right? Because I mean, like, anybody can become a nun. Like, you can do it at any part of your life. And I don't think that before you become a nun, I don't think I don't know how it works actually. But that was a very weird line.
Yeah,
It
like
was very odd.
they're trying to say like you get your hoeing out before you're a nun. Like you decide to become a nun, you're like no more hoeing for me. So like once you make that promise, like I used to be a hoe, now I'm not. So like either being a priest or a nun. Like that's what happened in Fleabag, where he was just like, damn, I know I'm a priest and I can't have sex, but this really wafy white woman with this birthmark is doing it for me. And that was like the whole point of season 2 of Fleabag. I just described the entire point of Fleabag. Then that's when we cut to Kansas City, which is clearly not Kansas City, with Morgan Fairchild played by Blunt.
Margaret Fairchild.
Margaret Fairchild is a meteorologist, and she's living
She has
with
the weather shimmy.
Oh yeah,
I actually liked that a lot. That was kind of cute.
And then she's dating.
I didn't know he was in it, so when he popped, I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" I'm a big Wyatt Russell fan because of his dad. That's a nepo I can get behind. And I was just like, man, rock and roll, fucking rock and roll. I was down.
This is the Spielberg part of me that thinks it's funny because his second movie is called The Sugarland Express, which stars Goldie. And then now this movie stars her son. Well, he's not starring, but like he's in the movie. And
in my heart, he was the star next to O'Connell.
And that's all that matters.
So she's basically in a rut and trying to get her life together. She's like, I don't know what to do. I think we should move again. And he's just like, yeah, baby, sure. That's cool or whatever. And then, she's making toast. And that's when a cardinal just shows up. And the cardinal's awesome because he shows up and then Wyatt Russell's like, man, that's crazy, right? And then he's looking at Emily Blunt. And for some reason, there's a wind machine going on Emily Blunt. Like, what the fuck? And
she's
like
having a moment.
They cut to a wide shot of it too. And you're just like, wait, so you don't see this wind blowing off of her, Wyatt Russell, at all?
I think we're supposed to kind of understand that Wyatt Russell is one of those men who would probably not be an awful husband, but he definitely is not going to notice the little things.
He's the dad from Poltergeist.
Yeah, exactly.
Another classic. Like, yeah, there's shit in my backyard. There's stuff happening. My family, fuck, I want to move here anyway.
Yeah, that's basically it. Which I wonder why that's such a popular thing with the dads.
It's 80s filmmaking dad shit.
It is. You're correct. 80s dads didn't care. They went to work, they came home, and they wanted to relax.
Well, I mean, that's literally Paul Dano's character, which is Spielberg's dad, where he was just a worker. Like he was just like, I have this family, I have to go take care of them. I have to sell these things for IBM. I got to do all this, and then Michelle Williams ends up, being the fun-loving, like, hey, we got a monkey. And you're like, wait, what are you doing? She was a manic depressant before they could actually like figure out what it was. So like you hear stories about that, and he's putting so much of his life into this. So that's why this movie is kind of like The Fabelmans in situations like that. So that's what I gleaned from what
it definitely shows. And like this scene, like we were talking about, like how there's like a wind machine like blowing Emily's hair, and then Wyatt just disappears from the scene for a bit. Like, oh, this is a part of it. Again, it just goes back to that whimsicalness of like we're supposed to just go for it. Like this is the world they live in, and again, it's Spielberg world. But I myself was really going like, besides the CGI bird, which to me looked good, this doesn't work. Like you would not go, oh, look, there's a bird on the table. Look how cool that is. Okay, shoot, birdie, shoot, because the scene has to end. It's like that's not how this works in the year 2026. Like, you all be freaking the fuck out. They're just sliding down your table while you're eating your bread with butter and a coffee and with your Fruit Loops.
They call that toast.
I understand why she's not doing it, but he would have been a lot more weirded out by it. But I was telling Drew yesterday, the thing I like about Steven Spielberg, because he always does it and he finds a way to do it no matter what, is, and I'm probably paraphrasing this from many, many bumper stickers I have seen, but it is the phrase that comes from the Mean Girls, Regina George, iconic. And it's his version is, get in, loser. We're going to experience a childlike sense of wonder.
Yeah, 100%
That's his whole thing. He's not giving you the option. He is saying, sit down, shut up, and experience this childlike wonder because it'll do you some good. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It will.
Yeah. And that's the movie, right? Like, it's all a sense of that beautiful wonder with adults.
Yeah. And I mean, it's weird because another thing he manages to do, and it's a thing that I think is missing from a lot of like media for kids these days, is there's a lot of wonder. There's a lot of like, good stuff, good feeling stuff, but there's also a genuine sense of menace and scariness and uncertainty in a lot of the stuff he does. Poltergeist, E.T., there was some moments of like, oh, things could get bad for me, even though like I'm doing the right thing or I'm the kid in this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of kids media used to have that. There were times where things were genuinely fucking scary. Like, if you've ever seen fucking Neverending Story, you know what I'm talking about. You've ever seen The Secret of Nim, you know what I'm talking about. They just don't scare kids like they used to. Thank you. With all the heads.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, anyway, but I like that he still managed to do that because, again, that was the 70s and 80s. Everything was weird for kids. Like, have you ever seen The Phantom Toll Booth? You know what I'm talking about.
When that happens, she sits down, starts talking to Riot Russell in 2 different languages. And
no, she does Russian only, right? Wasn't it just Russian?
It's Russian and English, but that's where I was. There's the 2 languages, yeah.
I thought it was Russian and Spanish. And then he was just like...
He took that very weirdly, too. She's like talking Russian. He's like, is this for work? And she's like, what?
And I think the reaction goes to what you're saying, Crystal, is just get in, be in this fantasy land where this weird stuff is not going to make me like automatically freak out or laugh uncomfortably. It's just like, are you okay? Like the intrigue that some humans, like for me, don't react that way. It's more like, what the fuck is going on?
He does get to that point though, eventually, but
later, yeah, which I like.
There.
Yeah, we build up to it.
He was just like, oh, I'm late for work. Let me turn on the jams, and it's The Sweet Escape of Gwen Stefani, which I'm like, that's such a weird specific needle drop.
It felt like it dated the movie for me, but I'm not gonna. I was like, that's an old, like it's not an old song, but it just felt weird. Like,
it is an old song. It's from all I can think of is that she's 38 years old in the movie. So I'm like, that was just something that was popular when she was young, when she was in her 20s.
I can see that 100%.
That's the only reason I can think they did that, because I'm only 4 years older, and that is literally a song I listened to every day when I went to work in my 20s. So
it was from 20 years ago, back when Steven Spielberg had his last good movie, according to that article. So she's going to work, listening to Gwen Stefani, who recently has become MAGA. Well, she's from Orange County, so
that's why I escaped it.
Yeah, hasn't really made anything good since Tragic Kingdom. So, but anyway, or she's getting to work, and then she gets stopped by the car because she's driving a red car. It's going really fast. So the cop stops her. It's like, hey, can I get out of this? She's like, no, you were speeding. And then as it's going on, she's like, hey, get out of the car. And then that's when she's just like, hey, it's not your fault. It's not, basically like treating him like it's Goodwill Hunting, like it's not your fault. Like, and then he's looking at her and you're like, what the fuck? She just basically going into his life because she touched him, and like she understands the world.
No, she didn't even touch him. She looked at him.
I thought they touched when I thought
all she has to do is look at you, and she knows everything.
That's freaky.
That's why later in the movie, Hugo's like, why won't you look at me? And she's like, because you're the guy that knows everything, and I don't want to know everything yet. So it's visual. She sees people, get it?
He's freaked out. Then she goes to work. And this is the difference between like a regular director and Steven Spielberg, because this one shot is fucking incredible. Like, as much as I like these movies that are coming out now, like you see like these filmmakers who emerge and they start, And then you think about that meme that's been going around, it's like Unk has still got it. That's what I thought. I saw. I was like, yeah,
agreed.
That fastball's hitting like 103. The shot goes from the car outside to the makeup room to her talking to the
Korean
man, and then figuring and telling the stage workers like, hey, you need to call the cops, and like figuring out what's going on in her life, then her getting ready to do the weather report, and then like it cuts right before she starts the alien language, and you're like, this is essentially broadcast news but in a oneer. This is really good. This is very good.
One of my favorite things about that is when she rips that bib off of her.
Yeah.
That's how you know that woman knows how to do her job well and quick. And she's like, oh, get that out of you.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I'm sorry.
Was initially it's just like, hey, you're 3 minutes late. And then you had the Albert Brooks character from broadcast news. And just like, hey, you're late. What the fuck? And he's like, well, you can't sit down and do the makeup. And you see the makeup artist like, all right.
She's so annoyed. She's so mad. She's like, God damn it.
All of a sudden, she's trying to do the weather report and she starts making this noise from her mouth. And the fact that Emily Blunt is a good actress, that there were so many different emotions in that. Like, it was like, oh, I'm stressed for work. There's a little bit of horror towards the end. This is like, I know the Academy doesn't like to like actually give good performances like they're just due. They're just like performances that if you campaign hard enough, you'll definitely get a nomination.
Just goes to it being a well-oiled machine. Like cinematographer, cast, crew, all in their game. And Spielberg's a master. He just knows how to do it. Even his worst stuff is still better than most. His best stuff will always be better than everyone else's. He's just very good at that.
Yeah.
And you see the years of experience from Sugarland or Duel kicking into high gear with Disclosure Day, where it's just like, it's easy for him and effortless.
Yeah, he's just a master at his craft.
And he also really loves aliens. He's very into the whole idea. And that's another thing. Like he's at work, doing two things he loves: working on films and making great movies and talking about aliens. He's in his zone.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Then it goes back to Josh O'Connell and Jane. And Jane is just like, yo, why the fuck are we doing this? And Josh O'Connell pretty much serves as the exposition of the movie, or just giving you information. He's doling out information. And he basically says, we've known about aliens for this amount of time. And then he shows us this really uncomfortable video of an alien getting dissected.
To that, like, because when he first walked into the cabin, he had like the Snow White effect almost where all like the animals are staring at him, which now, later in the movie that makes sense. But I remember going, oh God, it's going to be a fairy tale movie. Like, it didn't win me over. I was very much like in the middle of it as I was going. Because in the beginning, I was kind of like just lost. I got thrown into something where I'm like, I wasn't ready for like all this movement. The pace is too fast. And I'm like, God, this is a 2-hour plus movie. So I'm like, all right, I got to like really step up. But that moment where they showed the footage of the alien being tormented was like, okay, my anxiety or my not interested in what's going on, I want to go home, came into I'm very curious now, because you are making a very different kind of alien movie where you never really see the aliens being destroyed like this, like animals themselves. And it's CGI, whatever it is, it's just a very sad scene and a very good, strong scene, because he does the thing that filmmakers don't do anymore, which is less is more. You just hear the creature being ripped apart instead of seeing it. And the performances of Josh O'Connell and the actor who plays Jane are just great, because you see everything you need to know through their perspective, their faces, their eyes. And I wish there was more of that, and not just this film, which they do well. It's just in every film.
Yeah, less is more for sure, because your mind's going to come up with something way more fucked up than something you can see.
Correct. Like the shark and Jaws.
Always. Yeah, always. Exactly. Like that was, I think that's kind of, maybe that's why Backrooms is a little weird for me, because I looked up something and I got spoiled about, the big dude, before I saw it. I was like, maybe that would have been scarier if I hadn't have seen him. But I do think they also have him in there just a little too much.
We go back to Ward X, which is Colin Firth's company, which is basically outside of...
It's the U.S. government, let's just be real.
Yeah, it's the U.S. government, but they have to do stuff, and it's DOD stuff, whatever. They basically know what's happening, and then like, okay, we got to find a way to get to Daniel. And then like, well, we could just use Eve. And then he pulls out that stone and tries to track Eve. And this part is actually really cool, Colin Firth taps into Eve's mind, not Eve, but her actual
Jane.
name.
Jane.
But
yeah, you're using their real names. You're using the government names right now, but that's fine.
Bono's daughter.
Bono's daughter.
Bono's daughter. Just say it like that. We'll get that better.
She's the reason why you had that unnecessary album on your iPod.
Jesus Christ, don't remind me.
He basically taps into her head, and like World War III starting, and as soon as that happened, I'm just like, so if the American government could just like tap into your brain, like World War III is over.
Well, they can only do it to one person at a time and at great personal cost to themselves, because like a very, 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 very great movie, Pacific Rim, you need two people.
I was thinking like the American government found out this technology. What's them this like any obstacle they could run through, they would just get rid. Like if Donald Trump had that ability, like, well, he would fail at it, but he would be like, yeah, it's crazy that all of these liberal journalists are dead. That's they all jumped off buildings around the same time. It's really crazy. Like that's what would happen. Like if you had the ability to tap into somebody's brain, they'd do that. Might as well.
They'd have to find a way to not die doing it.
Yeah, it's just funny you say that, Drew, though, because like I think that goes into something you and I talked about. I think for so you're a maker stuff, but it's like the whimsicalness of the reality that we have in World War III happening. Like it's very hard for me to buy into like win mode of Emily Blunt to we are on a war with Korea, we are on a war with Russia, or etc. It was just, it's very like, you have and it's very heavy stakes that are also happening in the world we live in. And it's hard for me to escape that when you're just like, don't worry, kids, aliens, I got you, 80s crew. And I'm like, that doesn't work. But here we are, mind control in the year 2026.
And that scene is good because she's trying to fight the mind control in her cross. Like she's using the power of her belief to.
The power of Christ compels you.
Hey, little temple tappers. And it's weird because this is like the first time since Huck, probably the color purple, that he's dealt with religion in a movie like to this extent. There's a lot of religion that happens in this movie.
Well, yeah, and the answer that he poses too. My favorite part too, because I like the idea of sort of a religious take and a scientific take, sort of finding a middle ground like that, where it's like, yeah, sure, you look at the wording, those supreme beings on earth here, yes, but it's the rest of it.
I know. It's like funny because he hit something where he hasn't talked about it in since like Purple, but I would argue he talked about it on everyone's favorite Indiana Jones movie, Kingdom of the Skull. Because in that franchise, it's okay to have the Ark. It's okay to have voodoo. It's okay to have the Holy Grail, but it's not okay to have aliens because it depends on who your god is. And I always found that interesting with King of the Skull. Why people didn't like it because some people complain about the aliens aspect. But Harrison says that line in the movie, and it plays into the whole idea that religion versus science versus aliens. Like they worship aliens, and those were their gods. And for Disclosure Day, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense why Spielberg would talk about it, especially in today's time where people thinking they're gods themselves with having absolute control. To your point with President, he thinks he's God because he wants all journalists to be controlled through what he says is right.
She basically kind of gets taken over by, and like kind of like her mind warped or mind melded or whatever the fuck. And that's when Josh O'Connell's talking to Coleman Domingo, who Coleman Domingo is one of the best actors we have. I just think everything he does is somewhat incredible because he has such an amazing speaking voice, great screen presence, openly gay. Shout out to him. We're supporting.
Yep. Very beautiful man. I'm jealous.
We're allies. No, Grayson. The way to be that is to have amazing skin and hydrate.
That's right.
Those
drink
are the
water,
things.
Everyone.
You will be hot if you drink water and hydrate.
Yeah, that's the key.
Do you want to know what his character's name means?
What?
Please.
So Hugo is actually derived from the Germanic name, from Hugh or Hugo. Those are kind of the same, but it means mind, thought, or spirit.
Damn, fucking cool.
It's right there, man.
As this is happening, Coleman Domingo and Josh O'Connor are talking on the phone. That's when crop circle just happens, and that's kind of a lot of the marketing. You see that crop circle, and when it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
But why did it happen? I'm still confused. Am I dumb? I feel like I don't know why it happened. No, it looked cool, but
that's why.
That's it. Okay, because there was a few things in there where I was like, we have these things that made me want to know more. I wanted to know more about the crop circles. Like, why is that important? Why do they need to mark where he is so they can find him? I don't know. And there's like a throwaway line, this is one of the things I don't like about seeing movies in theaters, unless I really want to make time to go see a closed caption one, is you miss dialogue a lot unless you're watching captions. So I love watching stuff at home because I can hear everything. So when he tries to go and use the mind meld, or what they call diving, he tries to dive into Daniel's mind, but he can't do it. He gets like one brief flash, then he's like, he's out of there. And so he says something, was he an experiencer? And I get, for me,
Yes.
I understand what they mean now. It means that you've had an experience with the extraterrestrials at some point in your life and they have affected you somehow. But that also made me feel like there was more than two of them, even though there's a big deal about them saying there's only two of you in the movie.
I agree.
That was something that confused me a little bit in terms of like story, and like, it sounds cool. You can't dive on an experiencer. Like, I love that. That's jargon. That's cool. I like it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was
And
like, what?
like when they first said it, I thought you can't jump into someone else's mind after you do it the first time. That's what I got from it. But then later in the movie, he jumps into Jane's head again. I'm like, oh, that means jack shit. So there is no rules to how you can dive unless you're an experiencer. But here we are only focusing on two.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then Hugo says there's always ever only been two of you.
yeah, Adam and Eve back to
Yeah,
religion.
exactly. Without, being married, they're more like siblings in a weird way.
As this is happening, Emily Blunt's character is in the hospital, and they do a lot of cool things with mirrors or windows in this. Like they do it at Ward X.
They do it in the beginning of the movie where like you go from the behind the SUV, then they like pans left and zooms in where you see the villain of our movie. Like he's not interested, but there's a glass protecting us from him, and there's water on it, and you see Josh O'Connor walk down the stairs. Again, another small wonder, but it's like a lot of that blocking where like she's driving her car, listening to Gwen Stefani, then you hear a cop alarm or whatever, and you go pan to the mirror. There's the cop with your face on it. A lot of that.
No, and that's the power of Janusz Kaminski. Phenomenal DP. So once that stuff was happening, and then her realizing what was going on and trying to get out of the hospital, and then looking at Wyatt Russell and realizing like, oh, you're gonna fucking leave me. Like
she was like, I'm not even mad, I'm just disappointed. Like that was the vibe. And I was like, yeah, I would be too. It's like
about running over the phone cracked me up. It's just like, how can you not run over a phone? How hard is this? And then she gets out and then runs over it. And then she stomps on it, kicks it, and I'm like, see, like Emily Blunt is one of the best comedic actresses in the world. She's driving in the car with Wyatt Russell, and she's just like, I have to call Daniel, and since she knows every fucking thing, like she can get a hold of him, and she's like,
have someone else.
Daniel Kellner.
Who is this?
Do not go back to the house. They found you. I don't know who you are, but they're gonna kill you.
And then he's like, okay. And so he basically is just like, all right, so this is a video game level.
Trips, falls down.
That is me playing any stealth level in a game, by the way. I fucking hate stealth levels because I will die. It will take me at least a dozen times to get out of a stealth level.
But it's like it's so beautifully shot. And again, it's another wonder where we start from in front of him and then we go behind him like we are on this mission trying to get to the house, and he gets into the car. He screams, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, being bad at it. And it's really funny, but also kind of scary. And they don't pull away in a way where we actually see the car go through the house in a wonder almost. Like I think there is a small cut, but it's less like, it's still beautiful to watch. And again, he just knows how to capture action on camera.
We need to stop him any way we can.
What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
I do love that dialogue for him was, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Because, I love it when movies let characters be who they say they are in a weird way. Like and I don't know that I've actually seen it a lot, but there's times where a character is like, oh, I'm not a field agent, but then they're like, okay, doing non-field agent stuff. Like they're like fine with it, or they adapt very quickly. I'm like, no, if you've been behind the desk for years, this is going to be hard for you the whole fucking time because you have zero idea how to conceal yourself. You don't know how to sneak anywhere because you've never had to do it.
It's funny you say that like that because I was thinking of Resident Evil Requiem. It's a video game. But like Grace, the main character, when you aim the gun with her, she's shaking the gun constantly. Like she cannot aim. And it's like very scary to the very end where she has the confidence working with Leon. And I get that vibe with Josh O'Connell where he like eventually he starts, especially during the train sequence, which I adore, but we'll get to that later. But it just builds beautifully with him.
Yeah, like it's great. And she's in the back of the car, and then that's when Colin Firth's character is kind of tapping into her mind as she has the knife, and then it has the shot where her reflecting off of the knife, and I'm like, man, Spielberg is going to do
That
that
was
shot
great.
for 40
That's only
years.
Spielberg. That's the only thing. He's the only person to think of that.
Yeah, he's wanted to do that shot in his head for like 40. There's no way, and like that's going on, and it's a cool car chase, and like that's when the movie, like, I mean, it starts to become a chase because they're running, and then he's driving off, and she's realized like, fuck, how am I gonna get out of this? And what we didn't talk about was when she was getting her mind melded, she was holding onto her cross, and it was digging into her hand like, stigmata, real temple tapper shit. To get out of the trance, she had to stick her hands again and be like, all right, I'm back to reality. So that was actually really cool. They go to the hotel and then find him, and then he gets caught, but she has all
The USB flash drives.
The USB flash drives, and does she have the stick?
She has the device. She doesn't have the USBs
does.
or anything. She just has the device. That's what he gave her. He gave her the most important thing.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he had everything.
Yeah, because
no, he gave her the device as she was getting out the window. That was the thing he wanted her to take. He wanted her and the device safe. So he was like, first you, and then he's like, take this with you. Whatever you do not touch it with your hands.
That's right.
And then she runs off into the fucking woods.
Okay. Wouldn't the cops just be behind there? But, not the cops, but the government. And it's like, you know what? Fuck it. It cuts back to Emily Blunt, and then they're in the middle of nowhere. And as this is happening, I don't know if we talked about just a little bit, but the whole threat of World War III is happening. And that's when everybody's at the convenience store trying to get their last rations before everything goes crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know if you experience COVID, like, or that weird moments of like
toilet paper and water.
Toilet paper, like it was toilet paper, paper towels, like you couldn't get shit.
It's weird when that scene happened because if you're not really paying attention to like one scene where they're in the newsroom at the very beginning where Emily's stealing the show, you don't know World War III.
Yeah.
There's like, it's weird. Like when you're at the hospital, like everything seems cash.
Mm-hmm.
You expect more people, especially when they're running over the fucking phone.
Yeah.
And then the nuns are normal, like they're not reacting to what the world could possibly end with World War III. It just, I forgot World War III is happening. And that's where I get really frustrated with the movie. For me, back to whimsicalness. It's like, World War III, oh well, this is happening, but aliens, focus on that.
The part I love is the moment that Emily Blunt realizes where he's at and goes to the facility and basically reads those guys to get into the facility. So she goes in, Josh O'Connell's there because he got arrested from the hotel. She walks up to him, and Colin Firth is like, hey, and then she turns around, and then it becomes his dead wife, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Which makes sense why he's so adamant about, these aliens. It's like, I don't have anything in my life. My dead wife. She basically parts the seas for all these people, and I was just like, this part is very similar to the resolution to Children of Men, where like they're fighting this war and they're so aggro, and then they hear the baby cry. That war just stopped.
Yeah.
And then, like, I mean, it's one of the best scenes in a movie I've ever seen, is that scene in Children of Men. And fun fact, that movie was 20 years ago. Then they escape, and then the one security guard, which Grayson, you talked about earlier, or not, he was just like, I ain't letting this fuck shit happen. I'm trying to get a rate. And so
he was so mad. He
basically chases after him. He was going to kill, like, what were you going to say?
I love that scene because it was a callback to Lethal Weapon 4, which is my favorite Lethal Weapon. The whole fucking train sequence is great. But I'm like,
to the 215.
Are we going to kill these characters or are we not? Like, I don't know what's your mission, because Colin's like, don't kill him. If people are like, don't kill him, but you're the best guys, you're like, oh, fucking, I want to murder them on the train because I don't give a shit because I'm a dick.
He took some shit personal. I don't know what he took personal, but he took something very personal. You know what? They don't tell you what he saw.
He's just mad because Daniel told him no.
Exactly. That's probably part of it. So, because like, if they're in this like crazy, like clandestine organization where like hierarchy is everything, and he's been that guy's right-hand man for like who knows how fucking long, he probably ran that shit when he was there, when he wasn't there. He was, Scanlon when Scanlon wasn't around. And so to have him sort of like, it's one of those things where somebody says, you know what, I'm not for the cause anymore. And the second in command is like, you know what, no, fuck you. I am for the cause. So what's wrong with you? So he believed in it for so long.
Classic Spielberg henchman, but it's also not working because, I don't want to. Later in the movie, he doesn't do it after he was going to do it this time, and
he doesn't do anything.
That falls apart. Yeah, you're okay. You want to kill him here, and you have an opportunity to kill them later in the movie, and you don't do it because you want your dad to tell you it's okay. So when Dad's around, you'll do it. When Dad's not around, fuck everyone.
Really wasn't about that life. The lights got too bright, and then he's like, you know what? Nah, I don't really need to do this no more. Which I'm like, oh, okay. Car gets ran into the train, and then it's sticks
stuck.
to the train.
Yep.
And then they try to
dragged along the track.
And then Mr. Way Too Good at his job starts fucking shooting him from afar with a pistol.
And the fact that he's sitting there driving this car, and he's got his gun out there like it's nothing. He is perfect at driving. He is perfectly aiming. I'm like, who is this man? He's a fucking Terminator.
He can aim with his left amazingly.
Yeah.
There are just times.
And no recoil.
I'm like, wow, this guy is something else. He is really about this. And they ultimately get through it, and then Emily Blunt has a panic attack, I think, and then
she does. She has a straight up panic attack.
And then,
well, I actually really like that part in there because one, you had this weird a boxcar full of pianos with the strings, so it gave you very weird musical stuff happening. But I liked it a lot because she spent this whole time reading other people and seeing their deepest, darkest secrets and telling them to their face, and then she has to come to terms with her own, and that's a huge part of her journey, I think, to get to where she gets, because she's so initially resistant with the thing that Hugo wants her to do. But that moment where she's like, I ran away from my dad. I didn't want to see him. I just wanted him to die. Because, she was a teenager when it happened. So it's easy to understand that a teenager would be like, this is scary and this is fucking terrible and I want it over as soon as possible and I don't even want to be a part of it. Even some adults would do that with a parent who was dying from something like that, where, it's too hard and they don't want to deal with it. And they're just like, let it be over. I'm done with it. And that was her. She had that whole panic attack. And that was really cool to see her face that herself in that moment.
When we start that scene and we're in the train and they open up the top shaft, I had a large chuckle because I thought I heard a snake.
Can you imagine? There would have been a fucking snake in there.
And there was no snakes. I went, oh, out loud, audible in the theater. So I was like, we're gonna have a scene where a snake calms her down because animals, right?
Yeah.
But no, it was fucking pianos.
They get away, and let me go back to my notes of where we're at in the movie, because I think that's when the Coleman Domingo...
they go to the house that Coleman Domingo built.
Yeah.
And it's a recreation of the house for childhood.
Because as the movie's going, and Coleman Domingo is doing his best man-on-phone performance, because that's really what he's doing half of that movie. I just love actor on phone performances where it's just I'm not in the room with this person and they got me for 4 days of shooting, so I'm just gonna say my lines, and these are just 4 days of being by myself. And so he has the old Bluetooth in his ears to go.
But he looks really good in this movie too. He always looks so good in the movies. They adjust him so well.
I know it's Pride Month and that gay people get powers, but Coleman Domingo is a very attractive man, and I'm comfortable in my sexuality in saying that. So he shows up dressed well, and he is the balance that the movie needs, and that's when Colin Firth is just he taps into his brain, and Coleman Domingo is like, oh fuck, he's doing it because he figured out that it's me. And he's like, everybody get out of this room right now, because
I like that. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that scene.
He's tapping in. So if I just stay into this room that no one's really ever seen, then I will be good. And then they have that conversation, the Force Jedi conversation, where they're just talking to each other, and it's really good. And Coleman Domingo is just oh yeah, no, I'm a very good actor. Okay. And he's just going back and forth with Colin Firth. That's actually really interesting. And then the two assistants come into the room, and he's like, get out. And that's when they're like, okay, now we can track him. Great. And so...
it's weird. I also liked that scene gave us this thing where Noah is the authoritarian dad who's you're going to do what I say, whether you like it or not. But Hugo is the dad who's I understand you and I want to do what's best for you, but I want you to sort of be on the same page as me and understand why it's the best for you. There's these two different parenting techniques coming into play.
Crystal was next to me. It's just so he's just doing this because he's a fucking hater. I'm like, yeah, kind of.
You know what? He's really mad that all of his friends don't want to be his friend anymore. That's Noah's problem. He's like, because he says at one point with Daniel, he's like, we'll just talk later about how personally hurt I am by this. I'm like, personally hurt by this? Okay.
Why did the aliens choose you, you fuck?
No, he said, why did you choose the aliens? That was the vibe I got. He was like, you chose them over humanity, over me. Like I think he feels like after his wife died, he feels like everyone that he cared about in some way or, whatever has like abandoned him and left him. And so that's why he's
straight
like,
white people problems.
It is straight white people problems. You are correct.
Straight white people.
It was just interesting. It was interesting to see that because there's always, they just had these two very parental like figure things going on. Like I said, where it's like the angry dad and like the calm dad who's there to hear you out. You know what I mean? Like, those are vibes I got from those two.
So, real quick, talking about Pride Month, but as me aside, last night I went to Vidiots after watching Disclosure Day and watched this movie called Onda Nova, meaning new wave in Portuguese. It's a Brazilian movie.
Wasn't it Onda Nova?
Onda Nova, yeah. It is an insane movie because it's like a Brazilian softcore sex comedy. Like there's so many things in it that happen where I'm like, oh, what the fuck? But it's insane and it's laughable, but it's one of those things where I'm like, this is actually kind of beautiful, the fact that they have so many different looking people be a part of this sex comedy. Like there's no story. It's just vibes. But it ended up like, man, people can't come together. Which is the point
whole thing. Oh, the point of this movie?
Yeah, is people coming together towards the end. What were you gonna say, Grayson?
See, and it's COMING, not CUMING. Let's get that straight.
Well, in the other movie, it may have been the latter. We don't know.
Yes, definitely for sure. Yeah.
There's a gay sex too in a room, and the poster on the wall is a coming soon poster of Return of the Jedi. Because what happened was this movie in 1983, and it never came out. And then in 2024, or
because it was banned.
Huh?
It was banned.
Oh, yeah, because it had
it was very openly pro LGBT. That's why. That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And the sex part too, but there were a lot of sex comedies. It has like, as I was reading the wiki thing you sent me, there were a lot of sex comedies, but because this one specifically was like pro gay, pro like LGBT stuff and like very like, for people who aren't like in the mainstream of society, that's why it got very banned. I think, from what I remember, from what I read last night.
It was fucking dope. And it does sound like it was banned, but in 2024, they rescanned the prints and then it looks new. And I'm like, wow, this is actually well shot. Like, it's the thing. And like this, I'm finding a way I'm bringing this back around. It's the difference between shooting on film and shooting digital. And the movie was shot on film. And back in the day, you had to learn how to shoot on film. There's not some shit that you could just, turn on a camera and then be
because it cost money. It cost you money to shoot that film. You weren't just like, oh, well, if I don't do well, I'll just start over. No, that doesn't happen.
We watched the Q&A before the movie last night. And so Spielberg was like, well, I mean, anyone could be a filmmaker now because you have the capabilities in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like you could do anything. And
Tangerine. 28 years later.
Exactly. Like you have the ability to do that. And like watching this movie, you're just like, oh, this is what masters are just talking about. Cause like Janusz Kaminski is shooting most of this on 35 and it looks really good. Like it has the bleach processing, but it still works. And that's when we get into another great filmmaker as John Williams. So John Williams is 94 years old and he is still throwing a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. He is so good at scoring movies that I kind of feel like we've taken him for granted. Because like
he's another underrated diva, like you said.
This is the tail end of his life, and he's still doing something this good. Like
he's one of those people that was. I don't purport to know anything about how the universe works, but this is just what he's supposed to do here, I think. Some people this is the thing. This is the thing they do, and like they can't do anything else, if that makes sense. Like there are people like I know that's why they're so successful at what they do. Like Steven Spielberg, he's so good because he can't do anything else. This is the only thing he can do.
Yeah, and it's like funny too because you mentioned like Williams, like it's Star Wars, right? Like that's the main thing to go to, or Indiana Jones. We forget sometimes he did movies like Harry Potter, like he did the theme for Harry Potter. Yeah. I know he does a lot of Spielberg, so it's like cheating, but like he did Superman. Mm-hmm. People forget he did the Superman theme sometimes, or Amistad, or Home Alone, and Empire of the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like fucking. He did Jaws 2, I think. I think he actually came back to do Jaws 2. He did do 3 or 4.
He did.
But he did
He did
Jaws
do
2.
Jaws 2. He
He
did.
did.
I'm looking at
Okay.
I'm looking at his stuff
You
right
are
now.
okay. Good. But
Yeah,
it's like we forget how good he is, and it's just because he's this person that everyone like steals from.
Yeah.
He's the one that inspired all our composers to. It's like him and Alan Silvestri. Like they really created the '80s feel and vibe that we forget.
Yeah, like I think one of the funniest things about Alan Silvestri, and he's most known for his Back to the Future soundtrack, but he also scored Endgame, which I really feel is kind of
all the adventure films. Yeah.
Just the fact that they're like, hey, this is another time machine movie.
And it's funny too because like he did Captain America: First Avenger, which directed by Joe Johnson, so you have that Spielberg connection and John Williams connection because Jurassic Park 3, Joe Johnson directed that one. So you have that adventure vibe, and then he does First Avenger and he gets hired to do Avengers, and he just becomes the Avengers guy going forward. Like you hear the fucking theme that DCA, Disney California Adventure, all the time.
Yeah.
Because of Alan Silvestri and the connection that he has with Spielberg and Williams and etc.
That's when Daniel and Margaret, they both meet up with Coleman Domingo for the first time. And Coleman Domingo is just like, look, you guys experienced this thing that happened to you on this exact date. So we've recreated your house to get that memory out of you. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. They did this in 1996. Wow. The wonderment, all this other shit. And then I see on the floor, there's a regular Nintendo. And I'm like,
yeah, the NES system.
That's bullshit. You would probably have a SEN. Yeah. Or, be different. Have a fucking Virtual Boy. But don't have like a regular
But
Nintendo.
That's where like it was working for me. Like I did too, the Nintendo console. Like, well, that wouldn't make sense if you're in your 40s. This is 2026. You would be an 80s kid. You would have fucking Genesis or SNES or maybe Sega CD. But whatever, details doesn't matter for overall vision. I'm freaking the fuck out that there's a house that looks like it's from Poltergeist. Or in another universe, this is an E.T. fucking sequel where it's Spielberg being Spielberg. And I don't mean to like jump into it, but it's like when they are like getting ready and they start having Emily calm down and start explaining what is happening and what her night was, holding Josh O'Connell's hand with Domingo, let them recreate it, and then we see her as a child, and that's where the movie won me over. It was that was where the Spielberg that made me want to escape did make me escape. It worked beautifully. Just to see her wake up, see the animals in her house. Then she goes into the snow where there was a shot. I could have sworn it was AI, but I'm not going to get into that whole conversation because I know Spielberg wouldn't do that. I hope, but Scorsese he did, so who knows? And then they're on the table and they're being not dissected, but just looking at them, learning about their ways, seeing how they react to everything, given the information of who they are as creatures, being very empathetic to intent, the whole point of the movie, being empathetic to animals and creatures and the planet you're given. Getting the day the earth stood still vibes when I was watching that scene. And it was just so beautiful. But then I went, I wish this movie was about kids. I wish the kids were the main characters of this movie. And when I had that thought, I'm like, maybe it's too fucking close to E.T. and everything else he's done, like not even directing, just producing like Goonies or Poltergeist, as we mentioned before, with the kids being the best part about that movie. But there's just something about the innocence of children. Seeing this is something that all humans can relate to because we're all kids at one point. And that's when we are most empathetic and curious. And that's just me and my vibe of that's where the movie started to click. It took 2 hours to get there for me.
Valid.
No, you nailed that shit. I didn't even think about it being kids, and like that is like a thing that's been happening. I don't know if you remember the movie War Horse. That's another Spielberg movie that it should have been kid because Jamie Bell is too fucking old to be obsessed with that horse.
It's just you have one of the greatest shows ever in Stranger Things minus the final season, but I haven't seen, so I can't judge. I want to butt off what you said, Drew, and Crystal, but that is like they are influenced by Spielberg, and that's why it works with these 5 to 6 kids. Goonies works because of these kids. Like everything, like the fucking biggest TV show in the past 5 years is Man of Grogu because of Dan Baby, and that goes back to Lone Wolf and Cub and The Road. It's just the idea of seeing the world fall apart through a kid's perspective is so much more fascinating, interesting. Because we're not cynical as we are as an adults. And that's where, to Crystal's point, shut up, get in the car, we're watching Spielberg world. hit me hard. That's when I realized I need to be a kid again, because I got to see these main characters as children. And I just wish that was the movie. But then he would be repeating himself with E.T. because that was all reality's perspective.
I mean, it's funny because Drew said that, Emily Blunt is sort of like one of those hinge performance actors, and the whole first half of that movie up to that point hinges on her and Josh O'Connell for one, and the set pieces and the action, but it's her because the second she has all her stuff happening and she's just like, she's doing such a good job of playing this person, this woman who's like, she really wanted to know where she's supposed to be and she hasn't felt that yet. And because she feels that now, that's the only reason she isn't freaking out so much in the beginning. But she starts to a little bit once things get a little fucking crazy. But I just really like that she's someone who's like, this is the feeling that I've been looking for, that I'm supposed to be here doing this thing. This is where I'm supposed to be. And that's why she leans into it. She sort of has, and they sort of establish her as being sort of a little childlike in her wonder of things.
Very, very much. The cardinal coming down the table, very wondrous, right? Very childlike.
Yeah, she's like that from the beginning. And then I don't know, you picked up, we all picked up on it because we're those people, we do this. But she predicted everything with the war, with her audition tape.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So no, yeah, but it was just, it was really, that's what carried you up to that point where you realized they came to them as kids because they knew only kids would be able to say, I'm okay with this, because they weren't hurting them. They weren't even trying to scare them. They were like, please just look at this and listen and, listen to us and just do this for us. Cause you couldn't trust an adult. An adult would be losing their fucking mind. Even if they did look like animals, they'd be like, why is it, look at fucking hoppers. They lost their shit because the deers were acting a little weird. Okay. So it's like you said, it had to be kids because they're the only ones who would be like, okay, I'm going to listen to you and see what you have to say because they want to know. They're curious. And that was one of the best parts, especially because she said, I loved every second of that because it's the old home and it's something like I would have grown up in because I'm about the same age as her. Everything was very that feel. She was singing a Disney princess song and all the animals came to her like a Disney princess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, how? It's so on the nose. But because it's Steven Spielberg, he knows what the fuck he's doing. It doesn't feel like it's smashing you on the head. It feels very like warm blanket and hot cocoa. That's what it felt like. It was great. It was amazing.
That's where like that Spielberg magic, as old as he is, I think he's like 76 now, he still knows how to like hit bullseye to where like I was getting fucking emotional. I was very mixed on this movie watching it. But once that scene hit, I was like, fuck, it got me.
Yeah, same.
And it's like that is why he is the master of everything he does with any genre. He's just so good at especially science fiction because he knows how to pull on your heartstrings. And that's because he is a big kid himself, which we need more of in filmmakers.
Yes, that's 100%. We need more people who just want to do it because it's fun, because they want to tell fun stories and not, I know money is a big deal because we all need money. What were you going to say, Drew? Sorry.
No, I was like, Grayson, you don't like to feel bad all the time watching movies? You don't
feel
bad about
that's my genre, but sometimes I want to be happy too. Like I get hard for Bleak Week, but I'm the only probably out person there while the other men are just closeted because they all love Come and See too much.
Like I remember seeing Bleak Week, and I'm like, I would want to do this, but not really. Like
I may be showing my age here, and I'm maybe. What is Bleak Week? Someone tell me.
It's a film festival that America Cinematheque puts on where they show like really fucked up depressing movies. So like Come and See, Threads, Beau is Afraid recently, like, and they do Q&As with filmmakers, and it's like, do you really hate yourself that much? Watch these back to back to back for a week or 2 weeks straight. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's like, damn, that was really like, I hate my life, to rethink myself, or I need to take a shower. Yeah, stuff like that.
That was, I think the only time I've ever experienced anything like that was when I had to take a documentary film class. And it was just documentaries that were depressing the whole time.
Side note real quick. So speaking of very depressing documentaries, one year at Sundance, it was 8:30 in the morning. I saw Hot Girls Wanted, which is about young, like 18-year-old porn stars living in Miami.
I've seen that.
Like,
it's very depressing.
I love it. I got to make filmmakers, but fuck, it's really depressing. And then at 11:30 or 12, I got to see Hunting Ground. And I was like, I don't want to enjoy the rest of my day. Like, I legitimately was like sitting at the pizza place on Main Street, Pizza Noodles, just drinking water, slowly eating pizza, going, I fucking hate my life, especially being a man, because man, we're terrible. I digress.
This gets into the whimsy part of the movie where they go back and then they think about that day. And as this is happening, Colin Firth, aka Evil Name, what's his name again?
Noah Scanlon.
Noah Scanlon.
So Noah. Evil Noah.
Evil Noah.
Evil Noah's Ark.
they track where they're at, and they walk into the facility, and then Emily Blunt is just like, "I'm Neo, so I'm gonna figure this out," or I'm Neo or Violet from The Incredibles, so turns their entire facility invisible. And
to
I'm
be
like,
fair, they do establish that in the memory that they can make things look a certain way, and they have that ability. And if she were to just accept and give herself over to the thing, she would know how to use it. So I'm okay with it.
but that's when the comedy comes in, because they're like, all right, go to C, and then they just run through the walls and windows and shit.
They're just running into shit left and right.
And then that's when they all duck out because she's giving them cover, but they can only see the light come from her hand. And so they're trying to track that. But there's an episode of Atlanta, the television show that Donald Glover worked on. There's a whole thing about an athlete buying an invisible car. And there's a shooting that happens at the parking lot, and he leaves, and then you could see him hit people with his invisible car. And so as this is happening, I was just like, man, I really hope Steven Spielberg watched Atlanta to get this idea. That's that invisible fire truck is going on. But
That was hilarious.
they go to the news station, and then that's when she's just like using Jedi mind tricks, like, hey, it's okay, I know everything. We gotta get this to everybody to get all this information. And that's when Josh basically becomes Regina George from Mean Girls, because it's literally the same. They do the same thing. Josh O'Connell and Regina George literally do the same thing. Like, they get all the information out, and it's for everyone else to judge. Like,
that's true.
It's like a thing that's happening when you realize it. You're like, man, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Mean Girls literally have the same plot device. Like,
well, information is powerful, so.
And he's uploading those really fast USB drives where I'm like, I had a fast USB drive like that. It made me jealous. And so as this is happening, that's when Colin Firth goes in and is like, all right, we got to stop this shit. And then they realize there's nothing they can do. And Colin Firth is like, well, I'm just going to sit here just watching the TV. And the guy's just
He's
like,
tired.
No, what the fuck? Right. Like, shoot him then.
Yeah.
Just shoot him like you were trying to kill him before. You just go, oh, yeah, whatever, fuck it.
Because
away like an angry child.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention,
drives our point home that he was mad that Dad didn't say it was okay.
Because they cut the door and then they cut the reserve, and so they try to stop it, and then Jane comes in and is like, "I got you, boo," and then gives her the
device,
and then everything comes back online. And Colin Firth's like, "Well, I'm all out of ideas. I've tried nothing, and I'm all out of ideas." And so that's when everyone leaves, and then that's when the news report comes up. And
that was a very exciting part of the movie for me. Like, I like how they made that just as exciting as the chasing stuff, where it was like, oh my God, everyone's finding out. And it comes back to what you said. He's very good at making you feel stuff because, like, you know, we've had enough moments, I think, now in the last 6 years as a entire existing planet of people where we've literally had so many moments where we've all been watching the same thing happening. In the last 20 years, I'll say things that have happened, but like more recently, it's been a lot has been happening in the world. You know, we've all kind of just been sitting there watching it happen and unfold. And it was weird seeing it here, but in like a not so terrifying thing. And I mean, I guess it could be terrifying if you're not sure what's going on. You're like, wow, aliens are real.
Yeah.
But I liked the way that we saw the entire world fucking stop. Everybody on their phones. And even the newscaster, she couldn't keep herself from getting emotional. She's like, I am seeing this for the first time.
Good performance by that actress, by the way.
Very great.
Courtney Grace, he is putting in work. Like,
she did a great job.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So that was a very cool sequence. I really enjoyed that because it got me to that point where I was like, I felt like I was seeing that shit for the first time, even though I've been in this movie where I've known it for the last 2 hours. But like seeing it put that way, I was like, oh, this is how it would feel if you all of a sudden the entire world just knew. AKA, you know, if 1, World War III is starting. 2, aliens are fucking real and in a big way.
And then, like, during, like, once like things start slowing down after they show the footage, you have Elder Alien roll out. I fucking bawl in the theater. That's where I was starting to cry. I actually really cried watching that scene. Like, I'm like, holy fuck, this is beautiful. And then Coleman Domingo takes his other kid by the hand, drags Josh to speak to Elder Alien. And Elder Alien whispers in his ear. And then we're like, oh, what's the word? Then he tells us Emily Blunt. And Emily Blunt goes, and then again, Spielberg being a master, goes from Elder Alien to the humans to behind the camera, zooms in on Emily Blunt saying what word, Drew?
Listen.
Fucking fade to black. And I fucking love that because that is all the movie's asking for audiences to do. Not just the movie audience, but humans, is to shut the fuck up for once. and just listen. And to your point, Crystal, like we've seen so much shit happen in the past 6 years. People are so quick to just start reacting to what is happening so they can have it on their side of the political spectrum or whatever fucking agenda they have, instead of just shutting the fuck up and watching this country burn or win or lose or other parts of the world fall apart. Instead, they're just trying to attack the other side instead of just shutting the fuck up and listening for once. To where listening can bring empathy. Now I'm getting my fucking TED Talk again. But holy shit, I love that ending. Like that is what we need more of. Just listening to each other.
And to your point, like this works if you're not cynical, because that ending works if you're not cynical. Like, I mean, I'm cynical to a point. I mean, I grew up chubby and black, like, so I understand the world better than most people. But as a person, you're just like, when you're watching this movie, you're just like, that's not real. That's not real. It's like, this is aliens. We're dealing with aliens. This is the reason why I don't really like Ready Player One the way a lot of people do, because it's a 70-year-old man telling me about what the internet is. I know what the internet is. I've used it. Like, I haven't gotten to main character status. There's been a couple times where it's been dodgy. I love it. But like, it's just a 70-year-old man who had been rich since his 20s telling me how the internet is. And that was when I was cynical. With this, because I have never seen an alien before, I wasn't cynical. So I took it in. But I've experienced the internet before, but I haven't experienced an alien before. So that's what it worked for me.
It's fascinating because, you know, like I walked in cynical. I was kind of mixed on it. And then as the movie progressed, I'm like, fuck, it won me over because of the alien being tortured, because humans are very mean creatures to each other, even, and animals. And so I think the idea that they hide animals was a beautiful decision that Spielberg and David made to just use that. And then, of course, the kids stuff when they're in the house. It's like it's all building up to a point where he may be 70. He definitely has maybe a little bit out of touch of how the world would work. But if we just go into his mind of how the world could be, if we just go back from the days he was making his A-list hit, like blockbuster hitters, we could live in a world where we all do have that whimsicalness still. But to the people who just live in cynicism, I'm like, well, there is never going to be money because you think money first instead of thinking with your heart first.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if the aliens did come to Earth, there would be at least one tech bro being like, so how do we profit off of this?
It would be Elon or Jeff Bezos because they went to space already.
Yeah. Like, it would be awful. And that's why that works. Very well done. This is a great movie. I had fun with it. I miss movies like this. Like, once this movie gets made, because there's too many hands that happen in movie making, and like you're not gonna overproduce Spielberg. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna be like, all right, you got to put the camera here, Steven. Like, you got to do this. You got to have multiple cameras running at the same time, so you can get multiple angles, so we can like chop it together. Like, you're not. You're in the presence of somebody who is a master at his craft. Like, he literally has made genre-defining movie in almost every category except for a Western. He's never made a Western, but like every type of movie, he has made a genre-defining classic.
It's funny you say that too, because like going back to the beginning of this conversation, how everyone is gushing over younger filmmakers like Kane Parsons and Curry Baker, and how they're the future of Hollywood. Watching this movie I don't think Hollywood's ready for the old masters to go away in terms of their business model of how they tell stories. And that includes Scorsese, that includes Coppola, whatever Megalopolis was, doesn't matter. He's still the guy who made the Godfather movies, right? And George Lucas even. He doesn't make movies anymore, but he's made the franchise that everyone goes, I'm inspired by Star Wars. And Star Wars is everything, going back to Seven Samurai or a Western that Spielberg has never done, which he should do. And like, it really made me think in the middle of the movie is like, fuck, maybe Gen Z will never have that, or they'll have their own version of it. Like millennials, for us, it's Coogler and Nolan and Greta Gerwig. But I don't know how the movie business in general will go when you have the art of it dying with going away from film, going away from oneers and staging and blocking to, I love Ridley Scott, but damn, that dude just has like 10 cameras going just to get everything. But that's his method, right? He's not doing it like a younger filmmaker who is being told to do it by a studio. That's just a hired gun. So it's going to be fascinating to see the industry when these filmmakers are no longer making movies anymore.
Yeah, this is a solid movie. Crystal, what do you give this movie?
Man, I think I'm gonna have to just give it like a. Can I do like a 4.75 or can I only do a 4.5?
No, you could do a 4.7.
A 4.75 because honestly, there were just a couple of things that like bothered me writing wise and story wise. But other than that, it's one of the. I think as soon as I walked out of the movie, I said it's the first time in a while that I felt like I wasn't living in the real world for 2.5 hours, and that was nice.
Yeah.
Did not think about anything. And I'm gonna make myself seem probably awful when I say this, but one of the few places that I actually do that regularly is Disneyland. You go there, and you don't know the real world exists. The entire time you're there, you completely fucking forget about it because they are also masters of telling you a story while you're there. But I'm 4.75 is very, very small nitpicky things, but overall it was what I wanted. It was a movie that made me feel like I was somewhere else. It just captivated me the whole time. And it was very, very well done because it's Spielberg.
Grayson, I know you don't give ratings, but like, is it thumbs up, thumbs down?
It's a full price for me, man. Thumbs up. Like, if it's the ending, it landed. I cried. I was kind of like, man, hate watching. Oh, they don't stop showing off Spielberg, you fucking old man. Backrooms is the future. Obsession's the future. Move out of the way, bro. And then I went, motherfucker, please don't leave. We need you more than ever right now. Can you make another Jurassic Park yourself, please?
And like that's like and that gets to a larger point with how people treat AI. Like anytime you see something with like an AI scene, everybody's like, "You're done, Hollywood. This is all over." This one scene of this amalgamation of everything that Hollywood has ever produced is going to change how. Like, okay, sure, like they sound like robots, but go on.
It's especially on fucking LinkedIn. I hate that platform so much because it's boomer Facebook where they're all circle jerking themselves when there's an AI breakthrough. Like, motherfuckers, you don't know how things work. You do not live in the real world. We do not want this. Stop shoving down our throats. It's not the next coming of age. It's fucking gonna destroy our workforce. You want us. You won't give us a raise because of this. You won't keep us because of that. But when it's AI, get rid of everyone. Makes our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, like it's a thing where like I know AI is bound to fail. I mean, that's kind of why they pushed through this merger with Paramount and Warner Brothers. They know the AI bubble is very close to bursting, so that's why they've been pushing it together so fast. So if they can get this through before AI bursts, then they'll be like, well, now we own shit. Like, whatever. Sure. But I give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. I've been doing that lately. I gave Grogu and Mandalorian a 4.5 out of 5 because of the filmmaking. I give this 4.5 because it's just a good movie. So I give it, the rating I gave it, gave the same rating, but for 2 different reasons. So I think this movie works well. I really think Emily Blunt is a phenomenal actress. She's one of the best ones we got going. There's so many cool sequences. I'm happy that Janusz Kaminski is still good and Steven Spielberg is good and John Williams is just fucking great. For me, it just works. So that's why I get for this movie. Yeah. So
it's good time.
Good time. Grayson, thank you so much for coming onto the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Now,
love you guys.
New addition to the home wrestling
coming
league.
onto the pod like he's not part of it now.
I'm gonna have to start wearing my CM Punk shirt around here just for people who despise him. Makes me love him more.
It's like
you need a wait, it was you need the CM Punk as baby girl. Great moment. I was so into that. That was one of my favorites.
Is baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we just talk and then we stop talking. So I think I'm just gonna stop talking and end the show.